Hello, I'm Tyler Glenn, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
When's the last time you've had such a small show like this?
It's been a minute. Neon Trees played here twice back in like 7 years ago, so it's a trip being in here. It was called Spaceland.
That's right. I completely forgot about that name.
I love it because I get to be real close to everyone, and that's really nice. It's fun.
Now, before we actually jump into the upcoming album, I saw you at the Fonda, and your performance was awesome. But I left the venue like in pain. My knees were killing me just seeing you drop, like taking those jumps. How are you able to do that during your live sets?
I don't know, because I'm resting on the idea that I'm gonna have knee replacements by the time I'm 60, and I'm kind of okay with it. But I have no idea how that feels to have a knee replacement. It probably sucks. So
I'm sure
I should be more careful. I get warned a lot that I need knee pads, but they just are they're too bulky in my skinny type.
Well, on one of your jeans you had like I guess you had something under, because I see black.
There was a thing and then it tore out.
Okay, so I thought that was a knee pad maybe, but I was like, okay, the other knee's like not safe at all.
No, it sucks, but I enjoy putting on a show. So
you love the pain. That's what it is.
I live for the pain.
So ExCommunication's about to drop in less than a month. Going into this, listening to this record, this is actually darker than any of the stuff that you've done before. So what was that like going into the studio to actually work on this record? Was it harder to work on because it was a darker album, or was that something that you've had bottled in that just came out?
It's this record feels like it's very fresh because I'm still sort of processing what the record's about is a faith crisis and essentially breaking up with old me. And so I think it's hopeful in a way because I'm forging a new path, and I still feel young enough to be able to do that. So in a way I feel it's hopeful. But I think starting out writing this record, I was in a very like, I don't want to say dark place like people to worry about me, but I was in a place that I was really assessing, what do I believe in, where do I go from here, what is my identity, how can I be a proud gay man without religion, because what I knew was because of my religion, and now I feel like I am almost forced to decide new things. So that's what the record feels like and sounds like to me.
Now, was all of this the reason for you to go ahead and do a solo album, or was the solo album something that you've always wanted to do eventually?
I'd had a lot of ideas for a solo record, but so I'd written some music prior to what you hear on ExCommunication, but I think the minute all this started happening in my personal life, I used music as an outlet, and ExCommunication just came together really from that. So I think it's separate ideas, but together it formed this record. So
now Tim Pagnotta is on this record with you as well. He's been with you throughout your career, actually. How did that relationship really happen for you guys?
I feel like Tim, he was a singer for a band called Sugar Cult, and Tim's band essentially discovered Neon Trees because we were just a little Utah band trying to get on like other tours. And when they came through Utah, they had us open for them because they liked our t-shirt. And we were like, hell yeah, we love Sugar Cult. Like that was a band growing up in SoCal I listened to, so it was kind of a trip. And we just became friends instantly because I think he saw a lot of potential in me as a performer, and we just remained friends. And he's like, as his career has grown, so has ours. So we've just simultaneously like made a name for ourselves together. So
and he's worked on pretty much every record you guys have done. So you know, every time an artist goes into the studio with a producer, the point is to challenge the artist to do something better than the last time. So how does he really challenge you since you've worked with him so consistently?
I think with this record, it's the first time we were able to make a record like this because he's used to working with bands, and so am I. Like, I've never made a record on my own, and he's only worked with primarily bands. So it was the first time where we didn't have a ceiling on the creativity, and we just like really started designing sounds and going for like a vibe. And he, knowing me practically my whole musical life, like he knows the journey it's been in my personal life to like try to make Mormonism work and try to make being gay work and try to reconcile that, and then sort of leaving that behind and being hopeful and just trying to make Tyler work, like just be me. he has been along the ride for all that. So it's like rad that he's super talented, but also rad that he like knows the story and can help me like really tell it on the record.
Right. Now, when you went into the studio to work on this record, did any of your bandmates help you out on this record, or was this specifically like just Tyler?
Yeah, none of the trees participated on this record. They weren't really even aware thematically what was going on. So when I put out the first single and video, I think I know they were a little jarred, but I think because it's a personal record and I did it on my own, I didn't really even like keep them in the loop. Maybe that's my bad as a friend. But yeah, so no, long story short, they didn't play on this.
Was it different going into the studio by yourself this time around, working on your own material?
Yeah, I mean, it was totally a different process because I didn't really think like, okay, how are we going to play this live? And I didn't really think like, what can Chris play on this part or what can Brandon play on this part? It was more just like, let's freely create, which is really good. I think the lonely part has kicked in where I'm promoting the record and like starting to do shows, and it's totally different. Yeah. Because I don't have my bandmates. So it's a different setup, it's different players. So that has been an adjustment, but the creative part was really like exciting and fresh.
Now, Trash was the first song that we got to hear from you. Yeah. Was that like the first track that was actually worked on for this record, or why was the reason that you wanted to release that first?
You know, weirdly, like Trash is probably the first song that I consciously wrote for the record. So I think it just felt like a sound of something different. Like it didn't resemble anything I've done in the past. Right. And I think it really, like, at least within the religious community, it sent sort of a shockwave. Like, for me, like, seeing the reaction, I've never had a song written about on Reddit, 600 posts, like, analyzing what the video means and why I chose that lyric and that. So, for me, it felt like the right thing to do because it separated me not only from the band, but it established the sound I was going for and established, like, my point of view with this record, so.
Yeah. Now, with the lyrics, as you mentioned, for this song in particular, were these the same lyrics that you initially wrote, or did it get reconstructed various times before we actually heard what we're listening to now?
It changed a little bit, like more sonically. There was guitar on it before, and but it was always like a heavy beat, and the lyrics were always addressing a violent relationship. Yeah. But I think once it started to get honed, and like I was talking about this like sort of turbulent relationship with my faith, then it really got focused. But I think the video resembles that narrative more than even the song. Like, I think if you didn't see the video and just listened to the song, you'd be like, oh, he's like mad at his ex. Right. But I'm actually mad at my ex religion in a little bit.
There's a song on the record that you recently posted a text message from Tim, and Tim pointed this song out, John Give 'Em Hell. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that song, and what is it? Why was he so excited about it?
John Give 'Em Hell sonically is something different than I've ever done as well. It's a very quiet song. It almost sounds like a hymn or a lullaby. It was a song I wrote for a friend of mine who was excommunicated from the LDS Church for asking too many questions, essentially, and his name is John. And he's been a real inspiration in this faith process, just as a really solid friend. So I'd initially just written him a song to be like, here, like, I support you, I care about you. And I eventually just like put it on the record because I loved it so much. Yeah. But I think people that have heard it, it's become their favorite song on the record. I don't know if it's because it sounds different, if they just feel the vibe of it. But yeah, it's a very heartfelt sort of tribute to a friend. So.
Is that the most different song on this that you've worked on?
I mean, I know I'm biased, but I really think sonically it just sounds different than records I've made in the past. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of sonic surprises on the album.
Ultimately, when ExCommunication drops, what is it that you want your fans to really get out of that record?
I wrote this for anyone that's felt marginalized ever. So I know that sounds broad. I come from the LGBTQ community and the ex-Mormon community, so I have like a double whammy of marginalization. Even though I'm a white man that was raised in suburbia, I recognize that. But I know that that my journey is full of like pain and frustration, and I discovered that people feel that way in other groups and realms. And so I've made this record in the rawest way I know how, and I want people to feel sort of the highs and lows of what it feels like to sort of have a paradigm shift. Right. And I know that sounds heavy, but it's put to dope ass pop rock music, right. So you can have a good time.
You're just gonna dance, yeah, exactly. You're gonna dance to it. I see the lights going on, so I can only imagine what that set's gonna look like. Yeah. And with this record, what has been the most challenging part of it?
Being so raw and vulnerable, especially like lyrically and topically, like it definitely puts me out. Sometimes I feel like I'm out on the ledge alone. The best part about it is hearing from people that they get what I'm saying, because it's been polarizing. Like some people are like super offended, but I've never really caused that in my band Neon Trees. Like we were kind of like the go-to like, let's have a good time band, and I loved doing that for people. But in this record and this sort of project, I want to make people think while they're having a good time too. And you know, I think hopefully I'm not being too heavy-handed. I think I have a message that speaks to people, and I want to have that.
Are you worried at all that you are being too heavy on it?
No, not at all. I don't think about it. But I say that to sound nice, because I'm a nice guy and my mom raised me right. But I'm not worried about it.
Moving forward, today, like we mentioned, is your first like actual solo show. You have a couple in the coming up, and then you have the Greek show with Fitz and X Ambassadors. You played the Greek before, but there's something about this show that you're so excited about. What is it?
I love getting to, first of all, just play a whole new set of songs that probably a lot of those people that come to the show haven't ever heard before. But Fitz has become just a good friend of mine too. So the fact that he even like was like, yeah, come play your new stuff for us, like that was rad. So I think it's a combo of that. I love playing the Greek with Trees and being a SoCal native. It's all of that. Like it's exciting. It's a benchmark moment. So
now, what's so different about the live performances now that it's just you?
The vibe is different. It's a lot more of an electronic show. I think it's really vocal driven. Like I've always sang my ass off in Neon Trees, but I think I'm really like carrying a lot of the weight in this live show. It's a visual show because there's a really cool light show. I'm trying to bring as much energy to a club stage as I can. So yeah, I don't know. I'll probably end up performing the same way I do in Trees, right? Like it'll be the same thing. So no, we'll see. This is my first show. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to find out after this. So ExCommunication drops October 21st on Island. The Greek show is October 14th.
Yeah.
Any plans for some touring, or are you taking it just slow right now?
It's not slow by any means, but
You're just taking a long time, dude.
I'm taking too long. I feel like it's a chance to rethink how I tour, and so I'm kind of just doing selective cities and playing songs from the record. But I do plan to tour next year on the record, so yeah. Not to be vague, but yeah.
No, that's good. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate your time. You guys be sure to pick up ExCommunication. It drops on Island on October 21st, and catch them at the Greek Theater October 14th with X Ambassadors and Fitz and the Tantrums. And that's it for now here on Front Row Live. Thanks for watching.